Hello everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth. Flipper, I'm in this cabin. It's a little windy out there. I usually start my videos as I'm leaving this cabin, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done in here. I'm probably just going to film and ship and then come back and try to get a little bit of it done. But if you are brand new to this channel and you are watching this video because of the thumbnail, the title, whatever it is, I don't want you to be disappointed here. This is not a guru channel at all, not even close. This is not somebody who's going to give you the magic bullet. I am going to talk a little bit today. You're going to find a little sarcasm in this video, as we usually have it. I'm going to talk a little bit about some helpful things that might help some people out there. The viewers always chime in. There's a lot of great resellers that watch this, but make no mistake, this is not a channel to tell you how to make $1 million reselling. It never will be, never intended to, but we do have some awesome stuff that's sold. Let's go take a look. So I'll be honest, speaking to new folks out there, I suppose, if you're the kind of person who, has a bad week or bad month or just not going well eBay selling or selling wherever you're selling, your first instinct is to point a finger at eBay, for instance. You're probably not listening to the right guy. I was a baseball coach. One rule we had, and it was an unspoken rule, but we said it all the time, if that makes any sense. It was people knew very well about it. They knew how I reacted to it. Is that ball players that played for me, if they pointed the finger, even when it was justified, then we had a problem. Because honestly, that's giving away your power. It just serves nobody. It serves nobody, and it certainly doesn't serve you. The Dukes of Hazzard, Roscoe P. Coltrane, that one, MPC car. It's not sealed, but the contents are sealed. That one sold for $50. I bought a ton of these. This was the creme de la creme out of them. Paid $100 for the whole batch. I don't know how many there were, 30, something like that, 20. I don't even really know, to be honest with you. But this one sold for almost, we're going to get almost half our money back after fees, maybe 40 of the 100 on one item plus shipping. It's kind of a funny thing being on social media. You got to remember, I sold for almost 19 years before I ever picked up a camera. So I'm used to these wild swings, these ups and downs, these tough time periods, these time periods where, man, I got to sell something today or I ain't got enough money for tomorrow. But as the more and more I've done this, the audience that watches, everybody out there watching me right now, they reflect me in a sense, or I reflect them, I should say. That's probably more accurate. Where you attract people that are similar or like-minded in some way. And that's essentially what this audience is on this channel at this time. We talk about it all the time. This is not designed, has not ever been designed to be like, hey, these are the 6 ways that you can make your eBay store the greatest thing ever. Hopefully we can do that kind of stuff and feed off of each other a little bit and always get better at doing something we love. But the key for most people who watch this channel is you're doing something you love. It's why I really, really encourage people to do that, because it makes it easier to weather those storms. I thought this week was going to be a terrible week on eBay because we've had a bit of a storm around here. So I will likely be the first person to tell you that everything you hear on the internet isn't true, obviously. And there's anybody out there that purports themselves as somebody's going to give you the magic bullet, they're usually full of it. Let's just be honest. But I can tell you there is a silver bullet, plural. There are things you can do over time, especially when times are tough. This I brought in here the other day when I saw it sell. It was in the other room in there. This is, I'll get into all these examples, but I gotta pick some stuff too. Panasonic removable face high power cassette car radio. This took forever to sell. Sold finally on clearance, but I bought it so cheap. I think this guy was probably less than $10. And I did it at a sale. I dropped my boy off at a travel baseball tournament and went to a community sale that was right down the road and literally got back before his first at bat. And I probably made $1,000 worth of stuff in just that hour. $84 plus shipping. Now that's luck. Now when I say that's luck, I mean it's luck that sale was as good as it was. But it wasn't luck that I busted my butt to get out there. And that's kind of what we want to talk about today, along with some other practical things. I've got some simple questions and some simple advice, and I ask viewers to chime in below as well. Because I know for a fact that things are going very, very well for a lot of resellers out there. I talk to them daily. I make it a point of what I do to communicate with all types of resellers, and especially ones that aren't filming themselves like I'm doing right now. There are a lot of people having a lot of success right now. I was afraid this week would be awful Because our listing, you know, you remember it used to be list 10 things a day and you'll sell this many, right? Well, whatever. I mean, 10 things a day is a good goal. Don't get me wrong. But it's not the magic bullet. What are you listing? How much you listing for? How much profit's in it? How much profit do you need? How content are you in life? There's so many things that go into it. I really encourage people to feed off of a lot of the social media, the camaraderie that goes around, the simple tricks and tips and advice that I've got over the years watching social media has been amazing for my business, and I continue to tap into that. But your model is going to be the model that works, but your model won't work unless it works. I know that sounds dumb, but that's the truth. If it's not working for you over time, and I think too many people take a snapshot of a week. I thought this week was going to be terrible. It turned out it's great. We're shipping 27 things out of here for over $1,500 today. I thought it was going to be awful. But I look at some of these sales, like these right here. This one. This is a brand new listed one. This one's been around forever. And you have systems in place, especially with the back end of your store, stuff that's been around forever, where you can turn things around even if you don't have inventory, even if you're not listing. And sometimes you do get lucky. And that's a little bit of this equation as well. And if you watch our podcast, Trash Cash Podcast, sorry, I'll apologize if you watch it. But if you do, you will notice that we always tease Carrie for his single mantra. This might take me a minute to find. Because whenever any of these questions come up about, you know, best practices and different stuff like that, his answer is always the same. And I appreciate that answer. I don't completely agree with it being the only thing that matters. But he always says, find good stuff cheap. List it on eBay for a competitive price and you'll make money. And I think that is 100% spot on. We're going to get into some of the details. These two sold for $27.97 plus shipping. They were on 30% off discount, as was this. So that was the price after 30% has been taken off. If you buy stuff cheap enough, put it out there at a very competitive price, maybe at the market or something like that. I don't go to the discount early, y'all. You've heard me talk about it before. None of my items go on discount for at least 200 days. If sales are going well, then I bump it back to 250 days. But if you buy stuff cheap, when it does go on discount, you're gonna get that sale a lot of times. If you're 50% over the market, a 30% off sale isn't gonna do the trick for you. So I don't know what I paid for these, probably $1 a piece, sold for 28 plus shipping. So let's just start with that, because that is the basis of being a good eBay seller. Finding good stuff cheap. And that's the core. That's where you have to start. Some of us who've been picking for a while realized at the beginning we didn't pick stuff that was all that good. It was going to sit around unless it was, you know, dirt cheap. I've heard people say, what do you do with the stuff that doesn't sell? You know how few items don't sell over time? And I've got 1,900 plus items in my store, so there's been stuff in there for a very, very long time. But I've never done a complete, like, clean out and gotten rid of more than just a few items here or there. I think the biggest one we ever did, I took 20 items out of my store and I sold them off in a live or something. I may have donated a few. It should be a very, very small percentage. If you are consistently picking up things that will never sell, that has to change. And if you're overpaying for things that are borderline, don't have a high sell-through rate, for instance, that has to change. So start with your sourcing and be realistic with yourself. Be honest with yourself. I have a lot of stuff that's not very high sell-through rate, but I'm not pricing it at the market. I'm pricing it under the market. The stuff that does have a high sell-through rate, I'm putting it at the market and sometimes above. Start with the sourcing. Focus on your sourcing. Really critique yourself on how you're sourcing, where you're sourcing. If you're doing it at a certain place or a certain way because you enjoy it, keep doing it, but don't be afraid to walk away from stuff. All right, I wasn't going to do this part, but I'm going to slide it in here really quick because since the last clip to this one, it's been 1 hour. I talked about this week being crazy, how eBay wasn't going to be good for me. I have barely been listing, and it has taken all that I could do to get anywhere between 4 and 10 listings done. Have not done one today yet. And so the traditional, you got to do this every single day. Well, yes, that's good advice. You definitely should do it. But I'm just here to tell you that the tortoise won the race, right? The consistency over time. I saw I can't remember his name all of a sudden. Losing my mind. And I know him well. He sells on Whatnot now. He's on Facebook. Turner and the dogs outside are playing. Scared me for a minute. And he posted something. I think his 90-day total on eBay is $10,000. And he hasn't listed in like 2 years or something. I'm like, That's interesting to me because that goes against all of the stuff you always hear. But I can tell you what, he busted his butt. I guarantee you he busted his butt like nobody's business for years and years and years to be able to switch platforms and to still have money coming in. Eventually, obviously, that stuff goes down over time. But the traditional knowledge you hear about, what you got to do, it's really, you need to take that and put it into an overall philosophy and discipline for what you do every day, even the days where you have no sales, even the days where the weeks where it's really bad. And that is going to win the day. I'm experiencing it right now. I really thought maybe I buy into all the stuff, if you don't do this every day, whatever. But I've busted my butt for a long, long time on eBay. And we have, like I said, over $1,500 in sales. What's going on, bud? No. What's up? I gotta go find out. He was playing hide and seek from the dogs, and he wanted to come in here and hide from them because he runs around the house. It's wonderful to be a young boy. I wish I was young again for a few days. I'm a little off track, but I'm going to get back to the points I was making earlier and then make some other kind of common sense points as well. This has been here forever. I'm not even sure I can find it. But this is one of those things. Well, let's talk about the buying side one more time here. And I'll finish up my story. Maybe I'll put this down and finish up my story and then tell you about it. I mentioned for a few days here that Jess has not been here. Look at this. You made a quick switch, didn't you? And she hasn't. And I made the decision. She runs DibDit for us. The only things I do for DibDit, the only things are buy and then host the show. And that's it. I don't organize anything. I don't separate anything. I don't ship anything. And so she's having a rough time right now, in prison for her and her mom. But I made the decision, I am going to scrap what my original plan was. My original plan this week was, for me, this entire week, was to use Eeasier like I've been talking about and to plow through tons of listings as Q4 has started. I decided not to do that. I enlisted my daughter for some help to get up 4, 6, 8 listings a day. And then all of my listings, she's done that. She's done a few little things. She's not, experienced at it, but she's helped me a little bit. It's been nice. What I list today will be stuff that she put in there, which is cool. But all of my listing this week has included me taking Turner's Head Baseball 5 straight days, me putting things into my truck, and then when I go to his games, in between games or as they're warming up, I'm taking pictures and I'm listing it at his game. That limits what I'm doing, 4, 6, 8, 10 things a day, whatever. But my point is, I'm not going to stop. You do have to feed this beast, but I also love it, and that's part of this process too. You got to love what you do, and I love to do that, and so we're going back to the traditional form of listing right now, and that's fine. It's always going to be a mix anyways. But I decided to keep going on with DibDit, which meant that I had to do all the sorting and I have to do all the shipping. It's not easy to do what a lot of people do out there and be a live seller and be an eBay seller and stuff. So, that's why I tell people live selling is not for a lot of folks because it takes time. I mean, shipping 150 things out this week, my wife's helping me as well. It takes up a whole lot of time. It takes up my listing time, all of it. And so I've made that decision. I'm going to keep pushing on both. That means I got to wake up earlier every day. It means I got to work till midnight, 1 a.m., with the exceptions of the time I spend with my family. I just drove 30 minutes away, drop off my daughter, and I just came back. And we're going to push. I'm not going to waste time. So, a lot of people aren't in that situation. It does take discipline. It does. And I have it partially because I love it. I don't want this opportunity to slip away from me. Let me show you a picture. Contrary to what the guys say over on Trash to Cash, if you wanted a peek into my soul, if I had a cabin, now that's an elaborate, very, very nice cabin. If I had a cabin on a lake somewhere, I'd be perfectly content the rest of my life. If I sold on eBay and made just enough money to pay my bills and live like that, I would be one happy camper. As long as my family was healthy and near, I'd be a happy, happy guy. This is not about being, it's about improving what you do. That's what this is about. And there's a lot of people, if you're really disappointed by the amount of sales that you have out there, and perspective is a big part of this. If you have goals that you want to reach and you're not reaching those goals, don't push your power away. Don't push your ability away by pointing fingers somewhere else. The opportunities are out there to be had. Figure out what your goals are. Are they realistic? Learn from other people, be disciplined, and start with the basics. We already did one of them of course, which is the buy side, which I'll talk about this. And I occasionally pay up for stuff. I've talked about that before. But you got to be very conscious of what you're buying and what you're paying up for. I don't mind paying up for things that are high ASP, definite sellers you know you're going to make money on. It's this kind of stuff. I bought this, and I think the guy wanted 10 bucks for it. I don't even really know what it is. Ritchie hand-bearing sighting compass. And I looked it up. I wasn't going to just like, yeah, 10 bucks, whatever, it'll probably sell. I looked this sucker up. And I didn't give him $10 for it because this was an item that I'm like, yeah, it might sell. Maybe. And I'm thankful it did. And I don't know what I paid for them, but it wasn't 10 bucks. Sold for $39.99 plus shipping. You know, certain items you can pay up. You can pay up for silver. You can pay up for different stuff. But if you're going to pay up for something that might not sell, then you got to rethink what you're doing. I used to tell my defensive players in baseball, I said, you have to think aggressively on defense or you're going to fail. I don't want you to fail going backwards. And that's the way I think when I'm out there picking. But it is truly still defense. You can't go out there picking stuff that you're just not sure about unless there's certain circumstances in place. So the sourcing side, yeah, I don't really, I don't know if I like it or if I hate it. You know, you make money on the buy. I totally agree with the sentiment, 100%. In other words, you're going to set yourself up with what you buy and how much of it you buy and at what price you buy it for, especially the what you buy. You're going to set yourself up to have more success if you can control yourself on that side. And I know a lot of people who just simply buy way too much that they can handle, and it stops them from doing the next part, which is truly the most important, and that is selling it. All right, I'm looking for some Lennox. I think this is it. Lennox Holiday Gold Votive. And these don't go for a ton of money, but we sold two together. I think they sold for right around $18, somewhere right around there. $17.66 plus shipping. So yeah, make money on the buy. You gotta be smart about it. But truly, you don't make a dime on the buy. You only make it on the sale, period. End of story. And if that's the case, then I've never sold anything on eBay or any platform for that matter that I didn't list, or I didn't post, or I didn't go live on. You can't sell something unless it's listed. And so I'm not going to tell you, you got to list 5 things a day, 10 things a day, 50 things a day. I'm not going to tell you that because everybody's very, very different. But I can tell you right now, you're not going to sell anything you don't list. So if you don't have systems around your listing that is comparable to what you're buying, you have an issue. And yes, if you list more, you will sell more. But that's not the end of the story either. You are everywhere today, but you're getting awful close to merchandise. You got to stay away from that. So this sold. We had 3 viewer sales today, I think. And that's another point. Well, it's only you can do that because you're on social media. Okay, whatever. I've done this for 19 years. I did it before. I've had success before as well. Obviously, social media helps, but I'm not going to sit here and tell people, hey, you're not selling things on eBay? Start a YouTube channel. Start 3 of them. Do a podcast and sell, start Facebook and TikTok, whatever. That just isn't for everybody, period. So that one sold. No. All right, I'm going to have to take you down, kitty. I love this cat, y'all. No Name is my favorite cat. If you go way back on this channel, No Name wandered into our property and lived underneath the shed for a while. You were much skinnier back then, weren't you? Now you're a fat, lazy cat. So, yes, obviously viewer sales help. It's why I set this thing up. Of course I want viewer sales. But that's not the answer, y'all. And if that's the excuse you want to give for why you're not having success, and we all define that very differently. I'm finding a Smurfette here. Then you're giving away your power. It's just that simple. We're going to look at the third part of that. That, like I said, Carrie always talks about, buy stuff at a great price, listed on eBay, and that's not the end of the story. This is a little Smurfette tennis figure. I'm looking for a Papa Smurf. And then a radio Smurf. I think that's a telephone Smurf there. It might be born in here, I don't know. I found the Papa Smurf. See if I can find the radio Smurf really quickly. These went to Orty. This is like I said, we have 7 sales headed out here today, and 4 of them, I think, maybe 5, but definitely 4 are to viewers. So that is much appreciated. I don't see it. I'll put the camera down. All right, I couldn't figure out where the Smurf was, and I think I've figured it out, I hope. Maybe I haven't. This is a box of stuff my daughter listed. I told you she's been helping me out this week because it's been crazy. Now I can't find it in here. I was hoping it was going to be in here. Ah, there he is right there. Sweet. That one right there sold. And $38.88 for those 4. Plus shipping, which is really cool. We are already in the profit and we already got all this stuff left. So it's nice little buy. And before I get to the third point, there'll be people who watch this who say, look at that. Okay, viewer sales, I can't do that. It's not fair. It's whatever. Okay. Or my daughter, my family, my wife, my cousin, my uncle, they won't help me and whatever. And which is perfectly legitimate. Yes, I could not run this business to the level I'm running it with social media, live selling, eBay selling, all that. I could not do it without help. There is no doubt about it. But if your reaction is, I can't do that because of X, Y, or Z, then you'll never find the solution for what you want. Plus, there's a little secondary part of this, which is expectations. If I were doing this completely by myself, I would never have a goal of selling $250,000 in a year. It's not feasible. It's just not going to happen. But you know, my goal might be 100,000 doing it completely by myself. And I would be able to accomplish it if I didn't point fingers and cast blame on some folks. Find the answers that fit you. And for some people, they're like, shoot, I do $250,000. I don't have any help. It's possible. It's not very probable unless you have some assistance or help that's maybe not a person. But, I mean, you could hire somebody, but I don't suggest people do that in this business. I don't think it's terribly scalable that you can do that. It is possible. I know people who do it and make a killing doing it. But for most people, it's not what they want. Let's just face it. There's tools. You know, I don't currently use, we have a list perfectly linked down there and stuff. I don't currently cross list. I did, and I was having success at it, but I decided to go different directions and that it eliminated that part of it. I might go back to it someday. I don't really know. But there's things out there now, like we've talked about Eeasier and stuff, where you can scale on your own to some degree. You still have to be able to ship everything, so there's limits to this. But listen to a bunch of different people, figure out what your model is. Let's get back to the third part, in my opinion, this is the most important, but those other 2 pieces have to be in place. You have to make smart buys. You have to get it listed on eBay. You can make changes to it later. Don't crush yourself and cripple yourself doing research on one item, in my opinion. You know, get it out there, do the best you can. If you got to lower it later, you can lower it later. You know, you obviously got to know what it is to best list it. But the last part is where people get caught up. And I honestly believe this, and I don't care that people will say it's a race to the bottom. You have got to price competitively. I see so many listings that are listed and have been listed for months and months on end, years on end, that will simply never sell because there's 14 listed underneath that price. It's just not going to happen, or not very often. I don't race to the bottom. I've talked about this before. I put my stuff at the market or sometimes above. There was an item my daughter was actually looking at the other day. She's like, I don't know, because I'm trying to train her to list. Really not for me. But so someday if she wants to do this, you know, on the side or something, make a little extra money for her family one day, she'll know what to do. And she's like, I cannot find a comp for this. There's some in lots, there's some in whatever. And I'm just like, you know what? That's a good thing. There's also none listed. Just put it out there. Do the best you can. Put that price out there. You're the only one out there with it. List it. List it too high. If you got to come back later and put on 30% off discount, or if you're not getting views or watchers, but don't sit here for 30 minutes worrying about it, because you could have listed 6 more things. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to pull these out just off camera because it'll probably bore you. There's 3 or 4 of these that sold. Next clip, you'll see the 4 that sold. Okay, I found them. $30-ish. It's $29.95. I'm just going to give round numbers. They're all different buyers, by the way. That one sold for $29.95, $24.95, $22.95, I think $19.95 for those. All pure profit at this point after fees. And I gotta tell you, it really truly is as simple. We'll get into the weeds. We'll get into some tips and some things that people ask me about all the time that I do. And hopefully some other people will chime in. But it is truly as simple as find stuff really cheap that people want listed on eBay and listed at a competitive price. and have a plan, to be honest with you. Have a plan to figure out what to do with the stuff that isn't selling. For me, that's 250 days, 30% off. If it gets past 1 or 2 sales, 3 sales like that, and they still haven't sold, then it's time to rethink the listing, to research the listing, to take that listing down, to sell similar, and to look at your listing. Is there something wrong with it? Now we're getting into the weeds. Is the picture not as good as the other ones? Is the title terrible? Do you have a mistake in the listing? Is your research no longer relevant? This is a big thing people don't get. I heard somebody the other day kind of complaining about it. Is that my last bull Durham? I thought I had more. Maybe I took them inside or something. Or I'm not seeing them, but I think I might have sold them live, which I normally change that. But anyway, this one sold for $6, sealed bull Durham, plus shipping. I've heard people say lately, you know, I don't get near as much for this item as I used to, and everybody's racing to the bottom, and therefore, you know, nobody's going to make any money. That's just not true either. I hate to tell you. Let me talk about that in a minute. There's some poker books, hard one-off sellers. I just said we're putting them all together. $16 plus shipping. I could write a book, literally, on things that I used to sell that I don't sell anymore because the market has changed, or things that I used to sell for X amount of dollars that don't bring that amount of money. But at the same time, because I'm constantly learning, I'm constantly watching people, I'm consuming content, probably more than I should. I'm learning about new stuff all the time, and the markets are going up on so much stuff. It is not, markets are markets for a reason. It's not static. Things aren't going to stay the same. If you watched me years and years ago, I sold a lot of different stuff than I sell now. A lot of that stuff won't sell anymore, or won't get the price that used to make it worth it. And sometimes you do got to cut bait, like VHS, for instance. You don't see that sell. You don't see me sell that near as much as I used to. I still find the winners out there. There's still money to be made, but that market collapsed. You know, I bought those. I was selling them for $10 a piece for a while, and I sold a few of them, and then my price became too much because that market got really, really hurt. Cassette tapes right now, it's the opposite. It's kind of flipped a little bit. You can get a little bit of money for certain cassette tapes that were harder to get 8 years ago. So you constantly got to learn, but figure out ways to create systems where you can go back into your older listings and get them gone. Even if you're recuperating your money and a little bit more, it keeps your store a lot fresher, a lot more active. I think that is a good thing for your store. Is that anecdotal? Yes, but it's anecdotal over a lot of years. You guys tell me what you think in the comments. I think the one thing that people can't do in this process, as we delve into the weeds and get more specific here, is compare yourself to other people. Y'all, some people look at me like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you can't do that. It only works for him. Okay, I could compare myself to so many resellers that make so much more money than me. It is not even funny. Look at social media. I could look and say, oh, their garage sale videos get 3 times my views, and I could be woe is me. Forget it. Compare yourself to you. The comparison truly is the thief of joy. This was not something that I thought a viewer would buy. But they did, and you got a good deal. Let me tell you about it. That is like a stable, I don't know, what is it called? Shure Exclusive Dynamic Stabilizer, Stylish Record Phono, when they gave the numbers. I couldn't find a comp on this one. I found a lot of similar stuff that had really, really good comps out there. I think Benjamin here has got a great deal. I think you probably resell this and make some money on it, to be honest with you. Hi, Kevin and family viewer sale here. This happens to be Cheryl with an S's husband. Nice to see the husband here. Today is her birthday. If you would please wish her a happy birthday. Thanks for all that you do and the sacrifices you make for us. Well, that's very, very kind of you. I don't make sacrifices for you guys. You guys have all made my life 10 times better than I could have made yours. I promise you that. I can only imagine how time-consuming it is. It is, no doubt. I basically carve out time to do my businesses, and spend time with my family, and that's basically all. So, and to waste time with Dave and Carrie. Thanks again. Have a wonderful day. May God continue to bless you and your family, Ben. Ben, thank you. I hope you didn't buy that just to get the happy birthday. You could have bought a little Smurf to get it, but since you did buy that, I'm just going to tell you, you might want to relist it. You can probably do pretty good on it. So, should I promote? We're just going to go through a bunch of questions, talk about it, and what can you do if you're struggling, because when you struggle, you're looking for answers, right? I've given you truly what I believe the real answer is. Continued discipline over time, dedication, and just consistency, and buying things at a good price that you can list at a good price to get sold, and listing. So there's so much anecdotal stuff. $34.95 for the Shoot the Moon game. Now it doesn't even have a ball in it. I used to sell, see those down there? I don't even have them anymore. Used to sell the balls for this game. I would just buy a bunch of those and I'd make like $2 a piece on them, and then they stopped selling. So at any rate, and they happen to be the same size, I think, as the video games, the pinball games. There you go, I'm losing my mind. $34.95 plus shipping. So my answer for, you know, should you promote? Sure, I know 100 people, maybe not that many, that promote, that make a ton of money reselling. I know a ton of people who don't promote at all and make a ton of money reselling. I will say this isn't as anecdotal. Some of the stuff out there I hear, I'm like, really? You're going to give this advice off of this? Because, I mean, what would I say? Stop listing or slow way down in listing and you can sell 28 things. We just sold 2 more things for $1,600 or whatever. That is ridiculous advice. But that's what's happened. I've slowed my listing way down, not on purpose, and my sales went way up. Do you really think those things are correlated? Or, you know, is that the cause of it? No, it's not. So I would be wary of some anecdotal type evidence. There's a dog here that wants a treat. So, but I will say that there's no doubt in my mind that the people that consistently promote and pay those high prices will likely get far more sales. But at what cost? I choose not to. There's multiple reasons why I choose not to, but I also choose not to tell people what to do because I think it's right for some folks. One of them is because I like to send offers. I love to send offers. I don't accept offers. That might surprise people as well. I find it, and this is just me, that if you have best offer available on everything, you're tending to get a lot of best offers and the sale doesn't happen right then. I like to strike while the iron's hot. These 4 raisins sold together for $9. I can't read it, I'm too far away. $9.45, which tells me there's a send offer here. There's a 5% send offer. That's it. Somebody asked, I think it was Kevin, somebody else named Kevin, said, hey, you know, Wendy, maybe I'll find that one. All right, I can't find it. It must be on a different video. I've looked through this one that I thought it was on. It wasn't there. But I remember the name being Kevin. And I remember them asking about when do you send offers? Do you wait? They said they waited until Friday and sent them all out on Friday. And there may be a reason to do that, actually. It depends. You know, if you're super busy, most people watch this show, put in a lot of hours at work every day, right? And so there's another point. It's about expectations. This is my job, right? And I do have people that help me. We keep it in family. Obviously, I consider Jess family, to be perfectly honest with you. And that was for that part of that business. But the eBay stuff is basically in family. Let's, you know, just to be transparent about it. And I do most of the work. I mean, Turner doesn't do anything. I love Turner. He's just, I don't want to even offer. Like he said the other day, I'll take pictures for you. You're paying Reagan. I'm like, okay, do you really want to, or is it just that Reagan's doing it, right? And she doesn't do it much. She literally might put in 4 hours a week in the last week doing it, but it's been that much that I've needed help at this particular time because I'm doing the live selling and shipping. Anyway, you may have talked about this in a prior video. This is a totally different topic, but I saw it while I was looking for this. How do you keep up with the yard and selling and family with the kids, sports, etc.? Your property is beautiful. You are organized and spotless. That's not true, but thank you. It is it real, or if you spin the camera around, is it total mayhem? LOL. You should see mine right now. Yeah, no doubt. Well, I'll tell you what. The fact that I don't have a job somewhere else means that I still can take care of a lot of that stuff around the house. Not near as much as my wife would like. The yard is an amazing blessing. A gift from God to me that my dad he just likes mowing grass. And I gave him a lawnmower for his yard when he moved here, and he just started mowing mine with my lawnmower, and has never charged me a dime for it. He loves to listen to old music and sing, and so the only thing the kids like the concert, because they know when Grandpa's coming over, you're going to hear a lot of songs from the 60s. Because he puts those headphones on, mows the grass, and just drives around and sings and sings and sings. I don't think you realize how loud he is, but it's very, very nice of him to do that. As far as he just mows the grass, all the weed eating and all the fence line and all the briars and stuff that come over and all that. My son's fiance's brother, we pay him once a month to come and take care of all that, make sure we don't get overgrown. Not very much. I can use my time to do what I do best and give him a little bit of money, but that only is like 8 months a year. He's basically going to stop until probably March before we need it again. Maybe February, we'll see. So this also reminded me that we gave away I Dream of Genie bag. Willard, this, when I ran the thing, I almost considered for the first time not actually honoring who won. I couldn't have done that, of course. But Dark Toy Lord came in second on the random thing. And he's the person who won the swung vase for $1. And he would have got my I Dream of Genie, my Reseller Genie bag, code Commonwealth. Link is down below. And it went to Willard Jenkins, 2724. Go ahead and send me a message on my email, commonwealthpicker@gmail.com, and we'll send you my Reseller Genie bag, compliments of my Reseller Genie. There's another item. I think I know where it is, but I'm not sure. These got returned to me, y'all. These got returned. They said, well, they're dirty and stuff. I'm like, yeah, I said that. It's in the pictures. But you know what? I'm not too sad because this is sterling silver. And since they bought it, it's gone up even more. And we'll relist that. So that was a huge loss, though, $300. But you know what? It'll be turned around and be a huge gain here pretty quick. I'm looking for a gun holster. And I'm hoping it's in here. And I'm not convinced it is, because I haven't seen it in a while. I'm a little bit worried, to be honest with you. Might have to find it, y'all. My last chance. It's not going to be down there. So there's only two other places it could possibly be, and that's like the garage bin and the sports bin. And I found it in the sports bin. I would normally put that over there. I don't know what I was thinking. At any rate, that one right there, Galco, sold for $30, y'all. I picked these up in not good a shape. I'd pay $5 all day long for that. It'd be a quick seller, and it was listed on October 16th. Sold for $29.95 plus shipping. But as far as, I like to strike while the iron's hot. I think send offer is a way that a ton of people make a ton of sales. But you gotta be careful. You can't be out there putting it way over the market and promoting and sending 20% offers. You'd be far better off just putting it at the market and maybe sending out 5% offers. I do that. People say 5% is a waste of time, I'll never buy. I sell tons of stuff at 5% offers or 10% offers. If it's been around a while, I'm gonna throw a 10 out there. If it's been around forever, I might throw a 20, 25 out there. I think I just walked past. Yeah, I just put this in here. There it is. These phones are cool. I pick them up. I think I bought this one on divd.com. I'm almost certain that I did, actually. Part of a bundle buy over there. $38.95 for that, you know, plus shipping. People always talk about pictures and titles. Of course, they're important. Of course, I tend to think that an okay title with a great picture is even better than an okay picture with a great title. I think one of the biggest mistakes I see, just do an experiment. Let me tell you about this. I paid up for these. I think I paid $20 a piece for these because they had that tag on them, and it was Christmas. And there was 3 of them. And this one sold for $54.95 plus shipping. To me, $20 for that is paying way up. I was nervous. But I saw a good track record, and I knew Christmas was coming. And if I sold at $60 into, I might have paid $50 for all 3. I can't remember. You know, $60 into $165. It's like, okay, because Christmas is coming, we'll get it out there. But if I would have had to sell this to get it sold at $49.95, I would have done it for sure. Run a little experiment. Just pick an item you're going to sell as you're listing it or something, and look at the ones that are listed, then look at the ones that are sold, and almost every time, the ones that are sold are going to be better pictures. You will find bad pictures sold, but you will find a whole lot more of them in the unsold section. Just something as simple. I'll take pictures, like I said, in the bed of my truck out there in between Turner's games. I'll hold the item up. It's not like an amazing picture, but the key is the item looks big in the picture. I'm not taking it from forever away, and if I do, I'm going to zoom in on that thing. Make your item take up most of the space in your pictures. You will be pleasantly surprised with how many more sales you will get because your item just appears bigger and brighter than the competition. It's not a hard thing to do. It's not going to make you wealthy, but it's going to get you a few more sales.
More than I should have because I was talking on the phone to my best friend, so leave me alone.
Did I say anything? Look at all this work.
All in your eyes.
I said nothing. I'm looking for a typewriter that's sold, y'all. Now look at all this work she's doing in here. All right, Cornet typewriter. This one I had out there for a bunch more, and it did not sell for forever, but I bought it right, so I had a lot of margin in it. Let me take it out there. Wherever Lure's mom is, you can be sure the dogs are. Sometimes it's as simple as you got to be willing to absolutely just make the sale. I bought this in a bundle deal to sale. I got unbelievable deals. I'm so far in the profit. This probably didn't cost me $1 in that bundle. It's not blue. It's not sexy. I had it out there probably for $49.50 or something. It did not sell, but it is nice and it's working and it's electric. People like those. And I was like, you know what? I want it gone. $40 plus shipping, and it was gone like that. I want you all to chime in too. We're not done yet because I got to pick a bunch more, but chime in. If you had to give a brand new reseller advice, you know, I'm not getting any sales, what would the advice be? And try to summarize it. Make it something that'll stick with them, because it really is not that complex. Good items that you bought at a good price, so you've got some margin to get it sold if you need to, right? And get it listed, for goodness sake. Dr. Mario, I never cleaned it because this is something I listed literally holding it up like this or putting it on the grass at my son's game. Sold for $8.46 plus shipping. This was the 3rd viewer sale. And it went to Jason. He says, code Commonwealth. Okay, so you used my code to get the 5% off offer. Awesome. Longtime viewers here, my wife, everything's got a code Commonwealth, as Dave and Carrie teased me about. My wife and I have watched your Flipper and Picker channels for many years. We appreciate everything you do for the reseller community. Keep being awesome like you are. You are appreciated. Thanks always. Well, I appreciate that. Not everybody appreciates me, and that's perfectly fine. And, you know, I'll say this to the day I die, which hopefully isn't anytime near. I can never do anything for the community that the community hasn't done 50 times more for me. So Betty Boop, you might go back, you know, 8 months, and I was selling tons of Betty Boop, and one of those things in that lot just didn't sell. And so you got to make it sell sometimes. And this was the one that's like a Maryland Betty Boop. Like, look, her dress is blowing up, I guess. That's why they call it a Maryland Betty Boop. I don't know. And 30% off, got it sold. Sometimes some things just don't go, and sometimes it takes a D-list, sell similar. Sometimes it takes... Her dress isn't supposed to do that. That's funny that it is doing that. There we go. $19.99. It's up for $10.46 plus shipping. And I can't stress this enough. If you find an item that you brought home and you bought, and you find out when you're listing it that this is a very low sell-through rate item, you better put a good price on it. And not just the price, but the overall picture of that shipping as well. I've talked about this. I have pretty low flat rate shipping, and I lose money on a few items that I send out. Overall, I make just enough to get a little bit better than break even. We've talked about that before. But you got to look at your overall price. And don't just look at the solds. Look at what the shipping prices are for those. Some of those seem astronomical. It's because the shipping price that you're seeing is what the shipping would have cost you if you had bought it, and those people may be on the other side of the country. And so you're like, how did they sell that at that shipping price? Well, they probably didn't. They probably didn't make a sale to somebody on the other side of the country. They probably cut their market off and just made that sale over there. So shipping and the total overall price of your item has to be factored in. It will limit the amount of sales you can get. I've preached this forever, and I tell people you could still do it any way you want, but honestly, I believe that flat rate is part of the reason why I sell so much. And I kind of do it at the cost of losing a few dollars on a few sales, which to me is okay, because a lot of sales I don't lose money on. I'm making money on. This one is, you know, bobbleheads, depending on which ones, don't have, you got to check those sell-through rates, put a good price on it. $22 Anthony Rizzo Salem Red Sox bobblehead, 22 plus ship. Here's a small little tip, since we're getting in the minutiae. If you have a bunch of the same items, get them all listed at exactly the same time, or very, very close to each other, because a lot of times you'll get these bulk buys because people will say, hey, can you combine shipping or something? That one's sold right there. I'll just show them to you here because I don't have enough hands to grab them. Walking Dead. This is, let's say, 109 pieces. I don't think that's the right one. Isn't there another one here? There's one. Okay, here we go. 112 pieces is what I'm looking for. That's not it either, unless I don't remember the pieces. 112. So this one sold. I got nowhere to put it. I'll put it on my arm. This one sold. This one sold. All the same person. Doesn't look like it's a viewer. This one sold. And this one sold. We're approaching being in the profit already because we've sold a bunch over on Dibdit. These we decided to list. These are going to put us well into the profit, and I still have a whole bin of this stuff, or half a bin maybe. These sold for $121 plus shipping for all 5 of these. So Gotta love that sale right there. Here's another example. I sold some silver. I don't think this one. And so somebody bought a multiple here. Hopefully I'm getting the three. Yep, 3 little spoons. Y'all, these right here, little sterling silver pieces. That might be Gorham. I can't remember. Sold for $84.95 plus shipping. Back to the same place. More silver in a lot sale. I don't think this sold. That might be the only piece left from that lot we did. This sold right there. These 2 pieces. I think it was this one that's the big money. Branding matters too. Sterling silver cube, 1930s Art Deco, like sugar cube grabber. And then this spoon right here, St. Louis pattern Watson. That sold for $81.95. So that is quite a bit of money right there. And I'll have to get these relisted. I could make a lot more money on those other silver pieces. Where'd I put them? I put them back over here. If I cleaned them, maybe 15% more on those. But time is money too, y'all. There's actually 5 more things I got to pick, but I want to make this one more point here. Is people will criticize me for doing that. That silver there, they got returned because it didn't look great. It's not going to get returned again. I can almost promise you. Because in that listing, I'm going to like make it even more explicit. I'm like, look at all of these. You're going to have to clean all these things up and whatever. I'm like, don't buy it unless you're going to do that. Yeah, I could make more money, but you know what happens with a lot of that stuff with me? Is it gets put somewhere and it's like, I'm going to clean those because I can make an extra 40 bucks on those if I clean it, and then I never do. So you know what? Sometimes just getting it up there and getting it out there listed, giving it a good description will do the trick. In that case, it backfired because they returned it, but I probably will end up making more money the next time I put it on auction because silver prices continue to rise. And, you know, there's a lot of talk about the economy and whatever. Maybe we'll do a video on this. It gets controversial because everybody gets so political about everything, but in essence, y'all, things don't change quickly. No matter what you think politically, either side, the same people make arguments that they used to not make, and then vice versa and whatever. But one thing I can tell you for sure, without getting too political, is we continue to live in a bifurcated economy. I've talked about it before. There is no doubt. But that doesn't mean there's no opportunity for some people. It will increase opportunity if you just understand where we're at. You can make money on it. This is a cool little Smurf. I don't think it sold for very much. So for $9.95, that's not bad for one of those guys. Plus shipping. And honestly, for most of us who do most things okay enough, there is nothing more important than getting an item listed. This is a great example right here. I bought these things for $1 a piece. You guys see me sell them forever. I know nothing about these. These are garage door like circuit board things. I just got it listed. Nothing else was listed like it. I just listed it. I put a price on it, and I let the feedback and how many, not the feedback, the views and how many, I let that tell me if I was close on the price or not. I'd have been willing to take an offer on this thing. I don't even know what it's worth, but it got sold because it was listed, and I think we're completely out of these products. Maybe still have one left. We made an absolute killing on these, probably close to $1,000. On these things. This sold for $49.95 plus shipping. And I know I take a lot of flack from a lot of people, for good reason, about List Easier and promoting it. I'm truly promoting it to the people that it's worth it for, but it's true. It's because I believe that the most important thing truly is getting stuff listed. And this is a tool that helps you list things super freaking fast. And if that's the case, I'm going for it. And we'll learn along the way, and you can, you know, make those decisions as they become right for you. And that link will always be down there, List Easier. And code Commonwealth will get you $30 off. Vintage 14 karat gold bracelet. You saw me list this last week. Did I do it live on the show? I think I turned the camera off. I think I said the value is somewhere around $180. I can't remember what I said on that video. I used the little scale and the grams and stuff, and I put it out there on auction. Sold for $173 plus shipping, which is super cool and a big money maker. I paid $1 for it, y'all. All right, I've got 2 more items to show you. One of them, this makes me feel good, even though I have not been listing as much as I typically do because I've been doing so much dip. By the way, some people might be like, why did you choose to continue to do that without Jess? It's the 4th quarter, and I feel an obligation to the people over there who are selling to have activity to bring more people. And Q4 is when a lot of people make money, and I wanted to continue that. My wife, as you saw, was in there shipping. We have a lot to go, so I'm going to finish this video in a minute after I show you these final two. And then I'm going to get in there. Actually, I'm probably going to start in here. I'll probably do the toughest items to ship in here, and then I'll trade with her. She's got to go get Reagan at practice and come back, and we got to eat something because it's getting late. And I will go in there and start shipping in bulk those Dibdid orders out. And she'll come in here and do the easy stuff, and that's just what you got to do sometimes. I love it. I don't expect my wife loves it near as much as me, but she loves me, and I'm very, very grateful for that. So I feel for all the folks out there who don't have the help, but don't quit. Don't give up. Just adjust your goals to what are feasible, what you can do, and to make improvements where you can make it. You know, comparison is the thief of joy. And there are so many resellers out there who make, you know, $400-800 a month who are killing it because they're doing it for the right reasons. They're spending the time that they do have, and don't pay attention to the people. Even that's why I'm hesitant to even do the, you know, I'm shooting for $250,000 this year. By the way, without Jessie, I might not make it because she does so much for that dib. I mean, just so much. I'm exhausted after this week. But let me go grab these final two, because one of them I literally took pictures of. While I was in there shipping for Dibdid, I'm like, uh-oh, I got to take Turner to a game. I have listed nothing today. And so I just snapped a bunch of pictures real quick. And I went and took him to his game, and I listed them in between innings and whatever. So let me go grab those two. Pepper's been begging all day to get in here. Says, you let the dogs in. Come on. I'll give you treats if you come out. I can't leave it. Oh, there's no name. No name. Cats don't behave like dogs do. Come on, there's treats out here, y'all. Oh my goodness. All right, I'm hoping one of these, this went to a viewer as well, so this is the 4th viewer sale. I was hoping these were out here. I knew that's the last time I saw them. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, there's 3 there, there's 4 here. I think this is the right one. I have to double check it. I might be wrong. Is there 3 or 4? All right, let's look at them real quick. All right, these sold to Bradley Crosley Field. So this is, like I said, the 4th viewer sale of the day. He used code Commonwealth. Get 5% off. Bradley, we can't thank you enough. You bought from us for years. I probably should turn this light on. I don't think I'm coming back out here again. Let me get this off over here. You can look at all the stuff I haven't listed. Dibdid.com, y'all. We're going to be selling bunches and bunches over there as well, and some new items. We got some totes of brand new items that we're going to be selling as stocking stuffers and as Christmas gifts as well. It's dark out here, but I got my loyal kitties standing guard. Here is the other item. I went inside to grab this. I was nervous about this buy because I snapped one photo of one of these. This was on the way to Turner's tournament. He literally is sleeping in the car. 22 blown glass. It says Old Salem ornaments, which I think that's a store. At any rate, this was full. It had more in there than this. I pulled a bunch of the smaller ones out, and we're going to sell them over on Dibdid.com on our Christmas show here coming up in a week or two. And these were all the same style, made in Germany, and blown glass. And I'm trying to find the right one. There's one that was cool. There's a bunch of cool ones, but I'm trying to find, there it is right there. I don't know if you can see through the bubble. It is Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny in one ornament. And I'm like, that thing is cool. I clicked a picture of a different one, and I saw it sold comp for like $20, $27 or something like that. And then I clicked another one, and it was like 10. I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to pay 50 bucks. And I was like, look, I won't be mad if you tell me no, but I'm going to offer you 30 bucks for it. And they were excited because it was day 2 of an estate sale. So I got all these for 30 bucks. And this one sold for 18. And I don't know how many are in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Probably, well, they said 22, but I took some out to sell over there on Dibdid. So they're made in Germany. The other ones were a different style. They looked more modern. These look old, but I don't know how old they are, but they are sweet looking. And so, I don't know, I figured even if it was 10 bucks a piece at 22 of them, I should do pretty good, for sure. So, anyway, thank you to Bradley Crosley Field. Where'd I put your other items? There they are right there. We'll be sending that out to you, bud. All right, let me summarize the numbers since we had some sales. 29 sales, $1,653.57 headed out of here today. I'm tired. That's not to mention, we did pretty good on Dibdid. I only did 2 shows instead of 3 because Jess wasn't here. And obviously, the live selling part, I don't tell people to do live selling. It really is a separate business. I don't see too many people doing what I'm doing. And I don't see hardly anybody doing what I'm doing completely on their own. There are a few out there. I've seen them, and it is a lot of work. There's no doubt. I haven't eaten since breakfast, and it's 7 o'clock, so I'm hungry. But I think I'm going to start on this first. I just want to say thank you. If you are new and you're watching this video, it's like, wow, I had to watch 50 minutes of this guy to tell me to work harder or whatever. But it's just to say that there are really no magic bullets. I will say that listing is the absolute key. And then learning little tips and tricks along the way and stuff to get stuff sold, and not you got to be willing to cut bait on some stuff and to sell it cheap, when, especially if it's been in the store forever. It's holding you back. You don't have space. You're buying way too much. You're spending way too much when you buy. Your pictures stink. You know, you don't do any of the things that are available to you, which is put out. I'm not, you know, if I do a 30% off sale, I might sell 10% of the things that are on that sale. That's it. You know, and I have 29 sales today, but I have 1,900 things listed in my store, y'all. So it's not like stuff doesn't fly off the shelves. You got to work the system, and you got to be smart about it. And leave your comments below. And thank you as always for watching. And I can't wait to see you next time.